Everyone always says that you shouldn't buy a pre-built gaming PC, but this just got delivered. We're gonna take a look at the specs, see how it was built, and test some gaming to see if the stereotypes are true that pre-builts are bad, or we might just figure out if there actually are some good pre-builts out there. So this is a $1,500 pre-built gaming PC from Skytech, who is sponsoring this video, but we're giving real info in a real first look at this PC. So let's get to it. With a pre-built, the first thing you always look at is shipping, because shipping is always scary. Boxes can get damaged, they get tossed around, and obviously if you have a valuable PC in one of those boxes, it can get damaged. But it looks like our PC came wrapped and secured with styrofoam, and there's even packing foam inside of the PC so the parts can't jiggle around, which as far as I've seen, I think is pretty standard with pre-builts, but that's good. That means the PC is getting to you in great shape. So packing job, 10 out of 10, I have no complaints. Now let's see what parts you get for that $1,500 price tag. For the CPU, we have an AMD Ryzen 7 7800X3D, which from my research is the best gaming CPU in the world. And it's priced well, so it can even fit into a $1,500 pre-built like this. Then for the graphics card, we're sticking with AMD with a Radeon 7800 XT, another one of the best value PC components where you get great performance at a good price. And when you combine both an AMD graphics card with an AMD CPU, you get something called AMD Advantage, where both parts can take advantage of each other and basically boost the overall performance. So when talking about a pre-built meant for gaming, this really does feel like the two best possible parts you could include in it to keep the price reasonable while still seeing great performance. Now the next part in this PC is going to be the RAM, which is 32 gigabytes of DDR5 5600 MHz, which in my experience is the perfect amount for gaming, especially being DDR5. And they even have some RGB on them, which you're always gonna find in pre-builts, but we like that, we like RGB. Now it has a B650 motherboard that has Wi-Fi built in, an 850 watt gold rated power supply, which is more than enough for this build. We have a 1TB NVMe Gen 4 SSD, and as far as I know, there's no other storage on this thing, which is a little disappointing. But the good part is that storage is literally the easiest and cheapest thing you could upgrade on a PC. Like for 60 bucks in a 58-second tutorial, you could add a 2TB hard drive and be perfect. But again, that's a little annoying, and who knows, we could find a hidden hard drive in here. Regardless, at least you have a 1TB SSD to start with, and that's all you need for a little while before you upgrade down the line. Now for cooling, this has a 360mm AIO with RGB, of course. Looks like we got a total of 9 fans, once again all with RGB because we just need that aesthetic. And speaking of the aesthetic, this looks pretty clean. The case is called the King 95 and has this rounded glass edge along with this RGB strip down the front. It has this vented mesh top, and with one thumb screw, the front panel can pop off. In this case, is pretty different from what I'm used to because both of my PCs at my setup are using the Height Y40, which have this sort of false floor that hides the power supply and all of the cables underneath. But we can see that's not the case with this. This case actually extends the back, which hides all of that, but it makes the front profile look super clean. And the cable management here up front looks great. Looks like they used some cable clips, maybe a couple cable ties. That looks like it might have came apart in shipping, but that's pretty easy to just put back in. Maybe don't do that while the PC is running, but either way, very easy fix. And I'll try to get some light in here, but all of these cables actually flow back into a little sleeve back there. It's actually way better if I record on my iPhone, so all those cables get routed back into those little sleeves. There's a couple over here on the side, and there's also some down here at the bottom, so that keeps all the cables in check, which makes the PC look great. Well, if there's gonna be bad cable management anywhere, they're going to try to hide it in the back. And voila. Wow, you still can't even see anything. You would never need to actually do this if you got a pre-built, but I'm in too deep. And here we go. I mean, look, I got no complaints with that. As far as PC cable management goes, especially with all of the RGB that's in this build, I mean, this is solid. It's all clipped up. You're not gonna be able to see it from behind the fans. You got your power supply right there. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert here, but I don't think they've given me anything to be mad about with this so far. Now, besides the keyboard and mouse that came with, which are pretty trash. It's cool that they include them in case you don't have one already so you can set up your PC, but you're gonna wanna upgrade those as fast as possible. But one more thing that came with, which I don't think I'm used to seeing with pre-builds, is a Skytech folder with actually some pretty useful documents inside. There's a maintenance guide inside, which informs you about the basics of caring for your PC. There's a troubleshooting guide, which has solutions to like the most common problems that new PC users have. And I really like this. There's a quality control sheet showing what parts of the build were inspected, what was actually installed to the PC, what performance tests were done, and you can even see which technicians built, checked, and packed the PC. So I've showed off everything that's come with the PC, but in my opinion, there's one more super underrated part about getting a pre-built. But let me preface this by saying that I've actually owned 3 pre-built PCs, and I've built one of my own. So obviously, if you've ever looked into buying a PC, you've probably seen people say that building your own is way better than buying a pre-built. But as a pretty average person that's not super deep into the tech stuff, my experience was a little different. Because I didn't know much about PCs, I first did hours of research about parts to see what was good, bad, and even compatible with each other, because some parts don't work together. Next, I had to actually pick my parts, which even after my research, I had to get help from a friend to confirm that these were good and would actually work together. And then once I actually got the parts delivered, it took me about 8 hours to put it all together. At first, I couldn't even find the screws to get my glass panels off, and then I was following a bad tutorial, and then I accidentally covered a port I still needed with my AIO and had to completely uninstall it. And so maybe it shouldn't have taken me 8 hours, but as someone who's never done it before, mistakes can and probably will happen. Now, I've been using this as my main PC for over a year, and it's been good overall, but I've blue screened quite a few times. Once every few weeks or so, my PC will randomly shut off and restart itself into BIOS. If I set my Fortnite graphics too high, my game crashes, even though I have a 4090 and i9 13900K. Like, I spent a lot of money on it, and there's obviously something wrong with it, but I'm not smart enough to know what, and there's not many people that are willing to sit there with you for hours on hours and diagnose the problem. However, with a company like Skytech, once you buy a PC, you get a 1-year warranty on all the parts. And the underrated part, for as long as you have the PC, you can talk to their technical support and get help on your PC. So if you blue screen or your game keeps crashing, you get professional help for free. Whereas for my custom build, I don't really have anyone to go to, and even if I did find someone, the help sure isn't free. So in that regard, if you're not super knowledgeable about PCs, I think that alone is a huge advantage and probably the main reason why I won't build my own PC again. Again, maybe if you know all the ins and outs of PCs, it obviously makes sense for you to build your own. But I feel like for more the average person, yeah, we can figure out how to put all the parts together, but then if an issue happens, you don't know where to go. However, despite all of that, there's still one massive factor in deciding if this PC is even good or not, and that's actually gaming.
So with all the settings that I normally play on, going into Creative Island, we're running around at 700 to 900. I just saw over 1,000 FPS. And even building around here, we're sticking in the 700s on FPS, which is more than any monitor in the world could even support. And somehow right now, I'm also on hard 0 ping, so this feels actually insane. Now, obviously, this is not the only pre-built PC that Skytech sells, but it is the one that I got and can speak to if it's actually good or not. One other option, if you don't want a pre-built but still want the customer service that comes with one, they actually have a custom builder where you pick all your parts and they'll build it live on Twitch, which is pretty cool. But those ones can definitely climb more in price. And this is obviously my first time using it, so I can't speak to longevity, but my experience has been solid. From the unboxing all the way to setting it up and gaming on it, the build looks great, the parts work great. I have that peace of mind of the warranty and the ability to talk to a professional. I mean, look, like I said, this is my 3rd pre-built that I've had, so I'm not against them at all. And for this video, they actually gave me some discount codes for you guys that you can use if you're interested in a pre-built. Like, just as an example, if you got the PC from this video in a 240 Hz monitor, you can get $250 off, which is literally the price of the monitor. So you effectively get it for free, which is kind of crazy. You can head over to the Skytech Gaming website to check it out a little more, and thank you all so much for watching.